Y'all remember the bestie from that Pastor Tubi movie?
Girl, she in the bedroom sucking the pastor's dick.
Well, she's the main character in this one, and it's wild. At the beginning of the movie, there are men yelling for help and a sign that says, "Cheaters must die." Daylen and Zach share a quiet breakfast. He tries to lift her spirits, but she's longed for a baby for years without success. Zach reassures her it'll happen in time and suggests they see Dr. Jacobs for answers. Dr. Jacobs reviews Daylen's tests. Conceiving will be difficult due to her complicated prognosis and past trauma. Years ago, her uncle Drew took advantage of her before she was even in her teens. She later took his life. Given her fragile uterus, Dr. Jacobs recommends adoption over risky pregnancy attempts. Daylen rejects the idea outright, insisting she wants her own child. The doctor steps out, leaving Zach to calm her rising frustration. The next day at Daylen's jewelry store, Zach walks in with a large teddy bear for Daylen. She loves the gesture but can't help thinking it would have been perfect for a baby's room. Her friend reminds her to be grateful for a caring husband, adding with a smirk that the last gift she got from her own man was divorce papers. Zach tells Daylen he'll be working overtime, but plans to stop by Tony's crib to pick up a birthday gift. He promises to call her as soon as he gets there. Later that evening, Daylen grows impatient, waiting for Zach's promised call. She tries reaching him, but it just rings, no answer. Meanwhile, Zach is with his side chick and baby mama, Lonnie, enjoying some donkey riding. "You in danger, Zach?" When Lonnie fetches Diddy oil for Zach's favorite massage, he finally picks up Daylen's call, lying that he got drunk at Tony's and the guys won't let him drive. Daylen offers to come get him, but Zach gently refuses, assuring her he'll be home soon. As soon as Lonnie returns, Zach hangs up and continues their intimate moment. Lonnie not only got big knockers, but she got pepperoni slices. Growing increasingly worried, Daylen calls back a few minutes later, and Lonnie picks it up just so Daylen can hear what's going on. Daylen hears Zach giving Lonnie a chiropractic adjustment. Then she hears the baby crying. Overwhelmed by betrayal, Daylen breaks down in tears as her world crumbles. She not only cries hysterically, but she also tries to overdose on some hydroxycut. Haunted by the pain, memories of her abuse by Uncle Drew flood her mind, pushing her toward the edge of despair. The overdose lands Daylen in the hospital. Zach arrives with flowers as if nothing's wrong, but Daylen is done with him. She orders him to leave and go be with his baby mama. Her adoptive father, Detective Mark, walks in and backs her up, telling Zach the marriage is over. Wait, Detective Mark is daddy. Zach insists he's there to save it, but Mark shuts him down, throws him out, and makes it clear divorce papers are coming. 6 months later, Zach and Daylen are officially divorced, but Daylen hasn't moved past the pain. Battling depression, she has turned to alcohol as a way to cope. Meanwhile, Zach has moved on with Lonnie and is expecting his second child. A few days later, Daylen hangs out with her friends Armani and Celine. During their conversation, Daylen boldly claims there's no such thing as a working marriage, except maybe the Obamas. Armani disagrees, citing her parents, who have been together for over 25 years. Celine then reveals a darker side, saying Armani's father has been hitting on her for days. Curious, Armani asks if Celine ever slept with her father. But to avoid more drama, Celine quickly brushes off the question. Meanwhile, Louis, a man sitting quietly in the corner, has been watching Daylen. He sends a drink to her table with a note that reads, "I noticed you've been giving me the side eye. I'd love to see you again." Daylen just leaves that man on red though. Then Celine decides to hit the dance floor, hoping to catch a guy's attention. Seizing the moment, Armani tries once more to get Daylen to spill whether Celine ever slept with her dad. But Daylen avoids the question. "Celine girl, I'm gonna need a photo of your daddy." The next morning at Daylen's jewelry store, Louis walks in and immediately crosses paths with Daylen's friend at the door. Instantly attracted, her friend tries to flirt with him, but Louis politely declines. His D is set on Daylen. Disguised as a customer, Louis approaches Daylen with charm. Louis looking like a Temu baby whose face got ran over multiple times. Daylen shows him a custom necklace, her favorite, confident that any woman would adore it. Louis tests the necklace on her, dropping subtle hints about the intended recipient, but Daylen doesn't catch on. Afterward, he asks her to box it up while he pays in cash. The next day, Daylen receives an anonymous gift package. To her surprise, inside is the very necklace she sold to Louis. Attached is a letter revealing it was Louis who sent it to her. Daylen only wishes it was a pearl necklace. Louis invites her on a date, but Daylen's friend cautions her to be careful, especially given her past with Zach. Still, Louis' sweet and thoughtful approach makes the invitation hard to resist. Later that evening, Daylen arrives for the date, and they quickly fall into warm, meaningful conversation. She confides that giving birth might be something she may never experience. Louis responds gently, sharing that he already has 2 kids and used a coat hanger on several others. He is perfectly fine without having more. What matters most to him is Daylen, and he promises to give her the world. From there, they start falling in love, and Daylen begins to feel loved again. The two even be fornicating in the kitchen. Later, Daylen learns that Armani fell out with Celine because Celine did in fact sleep with her daddy. Armani quickly changes the subject to Louis. Daylen says he feels like he's a godsend, that they've been enjoying quality time together, and that she's already planning something special for his birthday the following week. A week later, while at Louis' place, Daylen realizes she's running late for the shop. On her way out, she bumps into a woman named Paige and asks who she is. Louis quickly claims Paige is his sister. Confused, Daylen says she doesn't recall him ever mentioning his sister, but Louis brushes it off and charms her into letting it go. She leaves, but her bubble guts tells her something's off. Thinking Louis is suffering from type 2 diabetes, she turns the car around. She catches Louis and Paige in bed together. Without hesitation, she kills them both, just as she did her uncle years ago. Paige still looking fine, even though she dead though. It's supposed to be Louis' birthday the next day, but Daylen decides to celebrate it anyway. She brings out cake and wine, feeding them to his lifeless body, still tied to a chair. In a chilling display, Daylen smiles and sings happy birthday to the corpse, her voice dripping with madness.
Happy birthday to you.
When the body refuses to eat her cake, Daylen cusses him out. Being obsessed over a pot-bellied man is crazy. The next morning at the jewelry store, a man named Prime comes in to buy a diamond chain, though it's clear he's more interested in Daylen than the jewelry. At first, he dances around his intentions, but when she urges him to be direct, he invites her to a party at the Comfy Zone. The vibe sounds good to her, so she agrees to come at midnight with her friends. Later at Comfy Zone, Prime runs late, leaving Daylen and her friends waiting. Celine asks about Louis, wondering how Daylen moved on so quick. Daylen lies, claiming Louis went to Chicago and ghosted her, so she chose to move on. Unconvinced, Celine suggests she's hiding something. Daylen brushes it off and changes the subject, asking how Celine and Armani patched things up so quickly. Moments later, Prime finally arrives, apologizing for the delay. Daylen introduces him to the group, and they all head to the dance floor. Soon after, Prime tells Daylen he wants to smash her and see if there's a real connection. Daylen takes it as some casual play, but Prime insists he's not playing games. Still, he makes it clear he wants to eat her kitty cat. Then Celine stumbles over, acting drunk. Daylen excuses herself to the restroom, telling Prime to keep an eye on Celine. But as soon as Daylen's gone, Celine flips the script, seducing Prime until he takes the bait, asking for her number with the clear hope of pushing her guts in later. What Prime doesn't realize is that this was a setup. Celine was testing him for Daylen, and he failed instantly. When Daylen returns, she knows exactly what went down but plays along. She tells Prime they can head to her place to smash, all while knowing he just agreed to smash her friend minutes earlier. At Daylen's place, Prime wakes up bound, panic in his eyes. He says he's not into dominatrix. Shh. He begs to be released, swearing silence. Daylen only smirks and drives her heel into him, making it clear this is no game. She then introduces Prime to Louis, and Prime realizes her crazy is unmatched. A few days later, Louis' sister grows worried. When Detective Mark, Daylen's father, questions her about anyone Louis might be seeing besides his wife, she admits he juggles many women. Then she shows proof, an Instagram photo of him with Daylen. Mark promises to speak to his daughter and get back to her if he learns anything. Back at Daylen's place, Prime endures brutal punishment. She brings over dog treats, saying Prime is a dog. When he refuses to eat the dog dessert she serves, she snaps 2 of his fingers without hesitation. But when he spits out the word bitch, Daylen loses it, grabbing a blade and slicing off his joystick in a fit of rage.
Ho, is you okay?
Y'all, we can't show it, but it's absolutely unhinged. She ends up cauterizing the wound with a blowtorch and an iron thing. Later, Mark meets with Daylen to ask about Louis. She denies knowing him at first, but when Mark shows her the Instagram photos, she admits they met once, but claims he vanished afterward. Mark then reveals that Louis is married, asking if she knew. Shocked and furious, Daylen says she thought he was divorced. Mark calms her and suggests they have dinner soon. Back home, still seething, Daylen stabs Louis' big back corpse multiple times for lying to her, then turns to Prime and presses on his wound. The next day at work, Mark tells his partner that Daylen seems to know nothing about Louis. He then leaves her a voicemail, saying he'll be stopping by her place later since she never showed up for their dinner. At the laundromat, Daylen sees Jordan threatening his girlfriend, Carmen. Carmen breaks up with him.
Clean your own nasty ass drawers. Oh, skid mark having abs.
Bro, let me call you.
Go to your sister's house.
Daylen seizes the moment, offering to help Jordan with his laundry at her place and maybe give him her kitty cat. He takes the bait. She finds a ring on Jordan and asks if he's married, but Jordan implies the ring was a gift from his grandmother. At home, she gets him drunk and drugged. She locks him in her basement to punish him for being rude. Just as she's about to start hitting him, Mark shows up because she missed their dinner. Spotting Jordan's truck, Mark asks about it, but Daylen nervously says she has a visitor and they're busy. A scream from Prime inside makes Mark suspicious, but she claims it's just the TV. They agree to meet for breakfast, and as Mark leaves, he notes Jordan's plate number with curiosity. Daylen heads back to punish Prime for screaming, then smashes Jordan's ankle with a sledgehammer. This is like Misery, but in the hood. 2 weeks later, Carmen and her daughter Carly walk into Daylen's store. Carmen shows a flyer, asking if she's seen Jordan, who's been missing. Daylen denies but offers to let her know if she hears anything. While Carmen uses the restroom, Daylen asks Carly if Jordan has ever hurt her. Carly says yes. When Carmen returns, she spots Jordan's ring on Daylen's counter. Daylen insists it's just a special order and quickly ushers her out. Meanwhile, Mark traces the truck's plates. They're registered to a missing Jordan. That evening, Daylen beats Jordan senseless after learning he took advantage of Carly. When Prime tells her to let them go, she ends up pulling a Mike Tyson and biting his ear off. Absolutely unhinged. The next day, she heads to meet Mark for lunch. Unaware, Carmen is watching from a distance, waiting for the right moment to strike. Over lunch, Mark turns the conversation into an interrogation, pressing Daylen about Jordan. Mark even says that Daylen's trauma may have affected her. Offended, she storms home, only to be confronted by Carmen with a gun, demanding Jordan's whereabouts. Shaken, Daylen claims she was protecting her from the man who touched Carly. Carmen calls Carly, who confirms it. Daylen then takes her to the basement where Jordan is held. Daylen does some crazy things to him, like shove a stick up his butt. Realizing the truth, Carmen kills him. Honestly, Jordan deserved worse than death. Panicked, Carmen runs, but Mark is there. Daylen arrives moments later, confessing her revenge spree against men who've used her. To protect her, Mark kills Prime, then helps her and Carmen escape before tipping off the police about the homicide, knowing Daylen is already gone. The next day, Mark tells his partner he'll convince Daylen to turn herself in if he finds her. Secretly, he warns her to disappear before the police catch her. Months later, Daylen spots her ex-husband, Zach, enjoying time with Lonnie and his 2 kids. She kills them all, except the youngest, and decides to claim her as her own. Soon after, she meets another man promising marriage and loyalty, but quickly learns he's no different from the rest. She starts plotting to add him to her basement. Absolutely crazy movie that actually deserves a sequel. This unhinged woman needs a whole series. However, at the end of the movie, we're subjected with some questionable rapping. What did y'all think about this Mess Express?
If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. We got lots more of foolishness on this channel that'll have you hollering. And if you like to watch more, just click here or here.